Welcome to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this Celebrate card using the greeting from Create with Friends, the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper. I've added some holiday rhinestone basic jewels, and I've used a piece of the Simply Elegant trim as well. We're using shaded spruce. I've got the edge die from the Scalloped Contour dies and a couple of the stitched rectangle dies. And this card comes to you courtesy of Mary McCown. She was kind enough to respond to the first out-of-the-box card I did for Paper Pumpkin, and she really liked the card, and she said to me, how would you decorate the inside? Because it is just plain. And I don't normally decorate the inside of my cards. So it was a really good question, and I love that she asked it. So thank you very much, Mary. This card was inspired by you. So I used the Scalloped Contour die along the edge of the card base and the card front. And then I put another piece of the DSP inside. I was just going to do an edge strip, but when I was going through this designer series paper, I'd already cut it into 5 1/4 by 4. This just played so well. And I did a wide piece here just so that you really get that layering effect. And if you look at the designer series paper itself, this is actually cut from the same piece. This was a piece that had pattern on one side of it kind of flowing across, and then it was just the plain white on the rest. So these work really well for this. They obviously go very well together. So let's get started making this card. I am just going to pop this over here and move a couple of things out of the way. What we can do to start with is we've got our card base in the shaded spruce. We can just put in the inside of the card right away. And I'm just going to line this up like I normally do, drop it down, and there we go. What I do need to do with the scallop die is I need to actually cut the edge of my card front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break my own rule, and this die will go through the machine this way with an edge against the roller because I can't put it through at an angle. So decide how much of an edge that you want to have on your card, and I did it about like that. So I took it and I put it in my machine. I lined it up so it was kind of equal on both sides, and then I used a sticky note to hold it down just so it didn't move in the process, and I sandwiched that up and I'll run it through the machine, and you're going to hear the clunking and the banging because I am putting a straight edge through. And there we go. I did it slowly so there wasn't a big clunk. There we go. All right, so we have now trimmed off the edge of the card, and you've got the nice dotted detail along the scallop. So now you can see the piece of designer series paper we put in the front, or in the inside. So now what we need to do is we need to decide how much of the front we're going to cut, because we want a nice deep piece of the card front exposed. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to line it up. I'm going to line it up like this, just so that we've got a pattern basically that we can do with this one. So I'm just going to line this up like this so it's even and in line with the card front. So we'll do it like this, and this I can actually turn and I can run it through sideways. And if you want to check your width, you can check by the piece that you cut off from the other side. or from the card front. You can see, if I line it up, how deep this is. It's going to leave me another bit, and keep in mind that this piece of paper is smaller, so it's going to give me even more of an edge. So let's run this through, put it together, and then we'll stamp the greeting, add the Simply Elegant trim, and we'll go from there. So we will run this through, and no big clunking this time because we don't have that straight edge. So let's pull this out and line it up on the card front. See, there you go. You've got a nice edge. This one's a little bit narrower than the edge I have on my sample, but it still looks good. So I am going to run a couple of lines of the Stampin' Seal down just to hold it in place. And we're going to, I'm lining it up kind of a bit differently this time because I want to make sure that I've got it lined up even with the scallops. And I'm just going to wiggle it back just a little bit, and I need to just shift it a little bit like that. There we go. So there essentially is your card. You can put whatever greeting you want. Like I say, I've used the Create with Friends set, and I've used the Celebrate. So to make the card front, before I do that, I am going to adhere the twine or the Simply Elegant trim, because otherwise I will forget. So I'm just going to add some Stampin' Seal to the front of the card, and I'm just going to hold this, and I'm wrapping it right around, so it actually, you can see it from the back of the card. Like when you open the card, you're able to see it as well. And I'm just going to make sure that this is relatively snug without undoing it, and lined up like that. I'm just going to push that down, and I am going to grab my scissors. Sorry for the big arm in the shot there. And I'm just going to trim that extra bit of trim off like that. And it's going to undo itself. I fixed that by holding it down with a dimensional. So let's just go ahead and do that bit. I've got this like this, relatively straight. We grab a dimensional and we plunk the dimensional right over top of that. And we can peel that off because I did dimensionalize the greeting. So let's get that greeting stamped and cut out. And our sticky note is going to come in handy one more time. So we'll use the shaded spruce. I'll ink it up really well. I'll have to be careful not to rock this because I have over inked it. So there we go. And that didn't turn out very well. So we're going to use the other side of the paper. And as usual, I have put my finger in the ink. So we're just going to lay this down, give it a good push this time. There we go. That is much, much better. Okay. So now we close the ink pad. Stops Lorraine putting her finger in the ink again. Okay. So we are now going to cut this out using the stitched rectangle dies. And this one just perfectly fits it. So that's why I'm using a sticky note just to hold it down. Lined it up. I'm going to put the sticky note on so it stays in place. And then this one, we line it up. Again, these ones I'm putting through with a corner instead of a straight edge against the roller. So we'll just put that through the machine and we can build the card front. So thank you again to Mary for the inspiration for this card. It's amazing where you can end up just from a simple question. You know, the question, how would you decorate the inside? And I thought, oh, well, I don't usually decorate the inside of cards. So that's a really good question. How would I decorate this? So again, I really appreciate the question. I appreciate the comments and that you're watching the videos. It does make my heart very happy when I get a notification that I've got a comment. and that somebody has watched the video, they've been inspired by it, or simply want to ask a question like Mary did. So again, huge thank you to Mary for the inspiration for this card today. And I chose to use the same colors or similar DSP that I had used in the out of the box from the Paper Pumpkin kit, because I loved it. It's dramatic. Mary said it looks like a thunderstorm, and I agree. There's so much drama in the pattern itself that you can't help but just love it. So I'm putting this down here. On this card, I have left some of the scallops showing, so I'll do the same thing here. I'll leave some of the scallops showing there, and then I will just make sure this is lined up. And sometimes I have to pick it up to line it up because just the way the light is. So there we go. And you can always adjust your trim to make it a little bit better and a little bit straighter. So there is your Celebrate card. It could be for a birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be a promotion at work, it could be anything. So thank you very much for watching today. If there are any products that you would like to purchase, please use the Shop With Me link below, and we will see you next time.